How you doing? And welcome to another video in the series of videos I'm going to make making SoF2UE Unreal Edition. This video is just a quick update to show you how I'm getting on and the progress that I'm making. All I'm going to do in this video is just take you through the changes that I've made to the UI. Haven't yet started loading the maps and getting into the game yet. And then I'll take you into Unreal Engine and show you the code that I've written and how it all works and all that sort of stuff. So, when you look at the game, you might think there's not too much progress, not too much has been done, but when you actually look at the code that's been written, you'll see there's a lot of code going on behind the scenes, a lot of things going on behind the scenes that I have developed and updated since the last video. So, let's have a little look. There has been much debate about how I'm going to load the model file in the options screen here. I've got a Python script I found on the internet to load GLM files, Google model files into Blender, and then you can export them as FBX, which is the native format for Unreal Engine. I've also got an Unreal Engine project that loads the GLM file itself and all the animations and the textures and all that sort of stuff. But what I think I'm going to do is to create a custom Unreal Engine character rigged to the UE4 mannequin and apply the original textures and create animations that imitate the original model from SoF2UE. So there is, as I said, there's much debate going on. I haven't quite decided how I'm going to do that yet, but as you can see, I've got the UE4 mannequin in place of John Mullen's model from the last video. That took a bit of work doing that, but I finally worked it out. So, on the player's options page, player's configuration page, nothing has changed apart from the UE4 mannequin. I was going to wait until I'd finished the complete UI and then do the next video, but that's turning out to be quite a lot of work actually. But I'm quite happy with that, that's not a problem, it's just the length of time it's taken. So what I'm going to do is maybe once a month, so what is this, 2nd of December or something, so at the end of every month or round about then, or whenever I've got something interesting that I want to show you, I'll just do the next video. So one video a month towards the end of the month, that's what I'm going to be aiming for. So what I've done now is I have finished the control setup. I've tried to make it look as close to the original SoF2 as I can. I think I've managed that quite well. Pressing mouse 1 allows you to select the key, and all the functionality that was in the original game is in this interface here. So look, move, weapon, miscellaneous, it's all there exactly as it was in the original game. And what it does is the key bindings are not saved to disk the same way it was in SoF2. Unreal's got its own system for that. It's called action mappings, axis and action mappings. So when you select a key and bind it to the lookup function, it's added as an action mapping in Unreal Engine. So that took quite a while to work out, and I finally got it finished today. Plus little things like SoF2, the name that SoF2 gives to a key like delete, or for instance mouse 1, is different from what Unreal Engine, so I had to create an array of keys for all the keys that could be used in SoF2 and apply, and have two names, one for Unreal Engine and one for SoF2UE, so to make it look exactly as it was in the original SoF2, because that's what we want. So look up, look down, mouse 2, that's all, we know all that. On to move, everything that was in SoF2 is here, and it all works. So if you go into look and you've got F applied to look up, and you go into move and hit F, it's then subtracted from lookup. So it works exactly the same way as it did in SoF2UE. So it's all there. Miscellaneous, all that sort of stuff. Chat, mouse. The only thing I haven't done yet, so the key binding section, the options here is complete. The only thing I haven't done is I have not applied the mouse sensitivity value to the actual mouse. That will come when I've loaded a map and start playing the game and all that sort of stuff, so I can test how it works, that sort of thing. But as you can see, it pretty much looks exactly the same. It's got this little thing when you hold the mouse down and you move it. I'm going to try and get rid of that, I don't really like that. But other than that, it's exactly as it was in SoF2. everything else. Any variable that is not got a key binding, they're just loaded into what you call the game instance and is available throughout the entire game. So you cast to the game instance, apply the variables. So they're just booleans, yes or no, and they're stored in the game instance and they can be accessed anywhere in the game. So that is pretty much all there is to it. Now it might not look much, but that took quite a while. Plus, I did spend a lot of time working out how to get the UE mannequin in there and whether I should load the GUI files and the GLN files and that sort of stuff. Oh, defaults as well, so all that does is apply. So we've changed all the values there, all changed. If you go into defaults as it did in the original game, hit continue, and it's all back to normal. That is a lot of code actually to get that done. So that's all I've done so far. And as I say, it might not look much, but wait until you see the amount of code it took to get that. Everything else isn't there yet. I'm going to just take my time, working on it steadily, getting as much done as I can in the available time that I've got, and that's pretty much it so far. So that's the game, that's the next stage. So as I say, this is just a progress update. I'll do one video a month. So into Unreal Engine now, I'll show you what exactly is happening behind the scenes. So I suppose I could show you the GLN as well. All these different projects here are just separate aspects of the game that I've been doing separately to see if how they work and all that sort of stuff. The code for loading the GLM file is actually quite complicated. I didn't really realise just how detailed the model file would be, but I suppose there's all the vertices and the surfaces of the model, and then you've got all the animations and that sort of stuff, so I suppose it's fair enough. Right, so I haven't actually loaded the GLM file into the viewport yet. All I've got so far is all the code. Right, so that basically just step by step. It's a sequence that does all these sort of things, reading bytes from the file, passing it into arrays, all that sort of stuff, and you've got a couple of functions about byte arrays to integer, bytes to float, bytes to hex, reset vars. So first of all, you load the MDXM header. That quite a bit of code there. Then you've got surface data offsets, surface data collection, mlod collection, triangles, vertices, and surface data, and that's nowhere near finished. And that's just the GLM file. After you do the GLM file, there's no animation in that. You have to do the GLA file, which has got the animation in it. So a lot of code for loading the GLM file. So I don't think I'm going to do that for the UI. Certainly, I'll probably do it for the game, but it will be part of the plugin. I'm going to make what was that I was going to do? So map file, MD3 file, PK3 file, but I'll show you the actual game. So I'm going to make a custom model rigged to the UE4 mannequin with all the custom animations, and I'll just make the animations based upon playing the game and watching the game. So that way it's up to date, it's modern, and it's rigged to the UE4 mannequin, and it's much more up to date. So that's what I'm going to do. Right. Right, so the main window there is just as you've seen in the game that I showed you a few seconds ago. As you can see, there is a lot of code. Hold on, right? A lot of code. So that's all the code there, and there's functions and all that sort of stuff. So this is just like that's just the key bindings, the control section. So that's the tooltips we saw last time. Functions for configuring variables on event construct when the label is created. Load current action mappings and load non-action mappings user settings on event construct. So there's a lot of different things happening there, and it's basically just when the game starts, it loads either the default action mappings, the default key bindings for the keys, or ones that have been previously saved. So if you go into where would I get that? Oh no, edit, project settings, input, and that's all the action mappings there that have been saved. And if I delete them and then just start the game, back into project settings, input, all the default values are then automatically added, and you can get them. As you can see, all the default values are there. So there's a lot of code that decides. There's a lot of code that looks at what's happening, what has happened, things that have been saved, and that sort of stuff, and then determines what to do. So, what else? Right, so I'll show you quickly how I did it, because it was actually quite difficult the way things worked, and I had to sit down and kind of work it all out. So if you go into the keys, what I've got, I'll close that, defaults. So each instance of an option has an IKS, an input key selector. When you press any key, it picks up what key it is, and you can apply it to the text and to the action mappings. It has two buttons, each with a text box. The one on the left just holds the name of the option, and then the one on the right holds the value. The reason I did two was I was having trouble getting the text to change in the way I wanted it to. Text would move. If you had one button with one text box and the length of the value changed, the text on the left, the name of the option, the configuration started moving about. I didn't want that, so I created two separate buttons, both on hover, changed the colour of the border behind it, so it all looks quite nice. It looks like it's one thing. And then you've got text on the left and text on the right. So, and I used an overlay which allows you to put controls on top of each other, and then an IKS on top of everything, which is collapsed at first until you hover over a button, then it's activated, then it's visible, and then it's available to press. And if you press the mouse button, then you can select the key. So every configuration option has that bundle basically, and it took quite a while to work all that out. Thankfully, there's a lot of good videos on YouTube of people who know what they're doing basically, and it's possible just to sit and watch videos all day and work it all out, and that's exactly what I've done. So, the user interface. And obviously the spacing and all that sort of stuff makes it look like it did in SoF2, so I think I've done quite well in getting it to look the way it was. The only couple of things I haven't done yet is, what was it? I wanted to get done. Right, so as you can see, the create server page is what it was the last time because I did the options first, and all I've done is the key bindings. So I've got display settings and audio I'm going to do next, and actually apply them to the game. So any resolution changes, texture quality changes, I will actually apply that. It won't just be a case of having the text there. And then I'll probably do a video after I've got those two done, and then once this miscellaneous setup and scalability options, I'll probably do them in a video on network and a video on CD key. So the progress is slow and steady. I am first to admit, I would go as far as to say that I'm not the quickest game developer in the world, but as I say, I'm quite enjoying it. It is quite good. And when I do here's another thing, when I do the display settings, I'll see how it what happens to the look of the game when you apply larger resolutions and that sort of stuff. Because the textures are designed for the 4:3 aspect ratio that I mentioned the last time. So that's pretty much it. So I'll show you a little bit of the code that I've written to give you an idea of what's happening. So all these are mostly on-hovered events for different buttons that apply chosen values to the action mappings in the text boxes, and these are the IKS events as well somewhere. That's on clicked. Yeah, on key selected, on is selecting key changed. So if we go into this function here, set IKS selected key add action mapping, there is quite a lot of code. As you can see, there's things like this can later on be put in a while loop or something like that, or for loop. I just like to get it all written down, all done first of all, in a way that works, in a way that I can see exactly what's happening. So this function runs, and the text box the input key selector text box in question that was pressed, the button that was pressed is passed in, local variables are set, and then all this code is just determining which input key selector it was, therefore which action mapping should be created. You cast the GI main to get an array of all the keys. Like I said, two names of keys are different from Unreal Engine, so you have to change, and that's done there. So this looks through all the keys, and if the key next key in the loop is equal to the one that was pressed, then you take the key display name and the SoF2 display name and you pass them into local variables, all that sort of thing. It's just all step by step, and then next you apply the value to the text field in the text box, and then you would have to search every other text box, every other action mapping to see if that key has been used previously, and if it has, remove it from the action mapping and remove it from the text box, replacing it with, if there was, because SoF2 gives you the option for two keys, it will say end or shift. So if you press shift in another option, shift has to be removed from the original and leave end, and if shift was the only value there, it would go to the 3 question marks. So that's what all that does. And then once that's done, let's just replace text, split if it contains or, split it so you've got 2 end and shift, and then create 2 keys out of those. So the left string, the right string, set text, set the new text in respective text boxes. Cast a GI main as a temporary array for 2 keys, 2 pressed keys. Cast the GI main, get the keys again, and then add the first of the selected key to the array, and then remove old action mappings and add the new one. So it's all just like step by step. You watch what it does. If it works, good. If it doesn't, then you go back and you try again. So remove old action mapping, that new one. Yeah. So that's that. So that's that function there, and that's just basically for the input key selector. What have we got here? Set text flash red. So that's pretty self-explanatory. Function set border font opacity and hover. So when you hover over a button, the border behind it goes sort of the dark, sort of green colour. I haven't put the comments in this function yet. And as I say again, a lot of this code is going to get put in the while loops and all that sort of stuff. But it sets, so that's once it comes off of being selected, it goes back to the black text, and the border with the dark green on it is set, the render opacity is set to 0, so it's not seen, and when you hover over it, text goes green and the render opacity of the border is set to 1, so you see it. So it's all just like sort of, I like to make sort of succinct, clean code, but this is what I call first run code. You get it all working in whatever way works, in a way that you understand, and later on you go back, you put it all into functions, modules, and loops, and all that sort of stuff. So what else is there? different buttons. What's this down here? So that's just the variables that are not key bindings. You've got a struct. So what I do is everything is cast to GI main and stored in GI main, which is the game instance, so it can be stored over when you close the game and be accessed from anywhere in the game. But I also like to keep a local instance in each level, in each map, in each widget, if that's the right thing to do at the time. So you cast the GI main, copy that into the local variable, the local array, and then you use that. But you always have the cast back as well. I might change that way of doing things because I'm new to Unreal Engine. It might turn out that's not the best way to do it, but that's the way I've always done it in coding. So it's just more on Harvard and that sort of thing. So that's pretty much it so far. But all that code is just the keys for the key bindings, you know. So there's a lot of code there. But it's a lot of repetitive code, as I say, that will get cut down. And give you a wee idea of like how many text boxes or how many controls there are just in that one. So the controls, the objects, the text boxes, borders and buttons for controls - keys, that's all of it there. So there's a lot of code just for that one section. So this UI is going to be quite big, but as I say, I'm quite enjoying doing it. But anyway, that's the code I've written so far. And so hopefully next video we'll have the audio and display settings as well. But that's the code so far. If you have any ideas, if you want to say anything, then by all means in the comments. I can be contacted at aonakf@outlook.com. And that's pretty much it. So I hope you quite like how it's coming along. By all means, as I say, comment, subscribe, like. We'll see how we go on. So thank you for watching, and until next time, see you later.